So, welcome everyone from me as well. Let me introduce myself first. I'm Kamilla Strausz. I am the CEO and co-founder of InnoMaker Partners, and it is my pleasure to guide this discussion, even this hybrid discussion today, which will be, I think, very interesting, but I hope the technicalities will work with us. And my background is deeply connected into innovation and entrepreneurship, and together with my team at InnoMaker Partners, we help startups to make them more easy to work and help them to create value on the market with market research, strategic marketing, and value creation. And before I founded my own company, I worked at the National Innovation Agency, where I met these very interesting EU projects. And I am definitely not an expert compared to my panelists, so I think I will learn a lot today about regional innovation as well. And let's get started. First, I would like to introduce my speakers, and I ask you to grab a microphone. You too, please. So my first guest is Magda Carli, the head of unit at the Directorate General for Research and Innovation. Thank you for being here. Margherita Bacigalupo, the deputy head of unit of the Joint Research Center. Wolfgang Münch, a senior expert from the Directorate General for Regional and Urban Policy. And online, Tanya Hristova joined us, who's the mayor of Gabrovo and the chair of the SEDEC Commission. And I hope you can hear us and we can hear you too.
Yes, I hear you perfectly, and it is a big pleasure to be with you, although online. And apologies for not being able to be physically in Hungary.
Thank you very much. We can hear you, so it's nice. So after I introduce myself, my first very basic question is, please share who you are, what do you do, what is your connection to the topic?
First of all, good morning, everyone. Happy to see you present, and we know also that it's web streamed, so also regards to those that are following us. So thanks a lot, Kamilla, for the introduction. So my name is Magda Carli, as you said. I'm here in this panel actually with two hats. First hat is to be head of unit of the European Semester and Country Intelligence Unit. And with my team, in fact, we are supporting member states and inevitably regions as well to perform better research and innovation. And at the same time, and so to invest more in research and innovation and to do reforms in research and innovation. And at the same time, I'm also deputy director for the ERA and Innovation director in DG Research and Innovation. And there are units that are dealing with widening, and this is something that in fact will be mentioned in this part of the fragmentation of the system, and also with the regional innovation valleys that are two elements of this ecosystem. So that's why I'm very happy to be here in this panel and also sharing it with colleagues that I'm almost meeting daily. So from REGIO, colleagues Wolfgang and Margherita for JRC, and Tanya for the Committee of the Regions, because we are collaborating strongly on all these matters.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. I'm Wolfgang Münch. I'm just wearing one hat. And I'm working in this unit in DG REGIO where we deal with smart specialization. All those who know a bit cohesion policy, this is our territorial or regional innovation strategy. We are also doing all kind of thematic coordination, so it's going beyond research and innovation. We are doing, of course, as well policy considerations for enterprise support, for digitalization, for everything what is climate-related investments, environmental investments, and infrastructure. So you see, it's one head, but it's quite a large one.
Hello, good morning everyone. I'm Margherita Bacigalupo. I work for the Joint Research Center, which is the research arm of the European Commission. So we don't do policy, but we do policy-relevant research. And I work as a deputy in the Unit for Innovation Policies and Economic Impact in the Directorate for Fair and Sustainable Economy. And my link with the topic is particularly on the research we are doing on transformative innovation policy. So it's deeply rooted in the work that we have been doing with DG REGIO for many, many years in smart specialization strategies, and also linked half a second that for topics relating to the regional innovation valleys and the research we are doing there with DG RTD.
Thank you. Tanya, please also introduce yourself.
Yes, my name is Tanya Hristova, and I'm also today in two heads representation. First, I would like to repeat that I'm chair of the SEDEC Commission at the European Committee of the Regions, where innovations and research and the strategic role of local and regional authorities are very high on our agenda, and we are very happy to draft different opinions. The last one related to the framework program number 10, which is very important for the years to come. And we are also collaborating very successfully with the units of Magda Carli at DG RTD, and also having very interesting initiatives with JRC. I'll just mention that at the end of this month, in my city, Gabrovo, who is trying to be among the pioneers in our country in the field of innovation and collaboration in this field, we are organizing a knowledge exchange platform and also innovation camp, which will predominantly focus on the regional innovation valleys, which is a brand new initiative on which we rely to enhance networking and competitiveness with the help of European cities and regions, and thus to achieve the global objective to speed up and to reach the rates of US and China in terms of innovations. Just 2 words for my city. I'm very happy that we have been part of many different initiatives related with innovations, thanks to being part of European initiatives like PRI, like now with our Ministry of Innovation, part of the regional innovation valleys. But as a city, we have established an entity which is part of the European Digital Innovation Hubs. It's just starting its work for our region, and as a city we are also part of the 100 cities targeting to reach climate neutrality and being smart, and we are also among the very few areas in my country to have smart specialization strategies, which makes the discussions today very relevant in the local, national and European perspective.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to hear that all of you are working together in some kind of way, which is a very nice thing, that seeing that all these departments and directorates are so interconnected in the field of innovation. And we heard a lot in the keynote about the regions and how they work, what their role, how we can be trapped in some kind of problems. So my opening question would be connected to this as a bit of an overview. Like, what do you see? Why our place-based innovation ecosystem are so crucial? What are the roles in the agenda? How they can uniquely contribute to the competitiveness?
Okay. No, thanks a lot. So indeed, we heard also from our Deputy Director General, how much research and innovation, following also the guidelines of President von der Leyen, has been put at the heart of the economy, for the European economy. And this is indeed a great moment for research and innovation. For all the years I've been dealing with that, is the first one where we see really raising the visibility of the importance of research and innovation. And this visibility and the need to invest in research and innovation, being this one of the important target, the famous 3%, which has been reiterated also at the highest level at the recent informal meeting of head of states on the 8th of November, This brings with it as well a recognition of a challenge, because if we have a target, it's because this has not been reached yet. So indeed, there are challenges. Challenges is on the mobilization of investments in research and innovation, and this is very important. Challenges we heard before as well from Ron about the fragmentation and the diversity, not only between member states, but within member states, and your picture was very, very clear on that. So there are a number of challenges, and it's true that these challenges can be overcome only if all actors are fully embedded and really fully working towards overcoming these challenges. So this means also that regions and the innovation ecosystem are one of the perfect combination of having all these actors put together, key actors that can perform better in research and innovation, and through the ecosystem we can really try to move forward towards addressing these issues. From our side, of course, we have been, and it has been mentioned, mobilizing support through Horizon, of course. We don't forget the widening part that is also in a way place-based, in a way that it really also has this geographic element, still not forgetting excellence, of course. But we have also the Recovery and Resilience Plan, where funds have been mobilized for research and innovation, and structural funds, ERDF in particular, and all the work that we have been doing in synergies, because indeed there are different sources that needs to be mobilized in order to reach our goal. Having said that, so this is why it is very important that we move together, because this is the European level, but national level and regional level needs to be fully involved. Yesterday, and this brings me to my second point, I was involved in an enhanced dialogue which we do with member states in order to discuss together challenges for research and innovation. And of course, we go as well to the regional aspects, to the innovation ecosystem, and we had a very interesting presentation on Brainport and Eindhoven regions and all the actors that are there. And during these meetings, more and more it came out, there was a key word that was very important. So this first part of the conference is about how making innovation ecosystem contribute to competitiveness. So the first keyword was making choices. So this came along through the whole meeting and discussions. So the idea of making choices, and this is also reflecting what Ron was saying, these low-hanging fruits, or any way to make choices that sometimes are also difficult, looking at your strengths, what happens also outside is based a bit on smart specialization, of course. So it's this concept of making choices that sometimes are tough to be made, but are very important. And this behind the ideas, this focusing, and we have heard it and seen it in different documents as well, in Draghi and in von der Leyen as well, guidelines. During the different hearings, we heard that as well. So they need to focus in order to really create this scope. But also within the ecosystem, what is very important is the networking between the different actors. As we heard again, industry and academia, extremely important. And in the case of this good example, they were speaking about all the responsible for the city mayor, the university, the research center, and the local government. They meet every week. So it's really something concrete that they do, and this enables really the networking. So this is about how to make, I think, also the innovation ecosystem inside working. So this, making hard choice, focus, and also the internal networking. And then the second point, where again Ron was mentioning, is not to isolate, but to create these networks with the different innovation ecosystem. And there probably is also where we can do something, but maybe I can address that afterwards. But this is very important, and in two senses, between ecosystems that are performing well in order to create this networking, but also to ensure that the benefit of an innovation ecosystem is really, from the innovation point of view, is really diffused. So it's what we call the diffusion of the innovation, which is also a very important concept that has been also mentioned in the ESE report from our group of experts on science and innovation that has been recently published. And I like to see that there is an alignment of all these different papers and recommendations towards these principles. We can go, I will go more in details eventually afterwards, but I will hand it over to my colleagues now.
Okay. I'm also a PhD student, so as a PhD student, I would love to see how academia and business work better together, because I always feel like in the business world I am too academic, and in the academia I am too businessy. So this is what I would love to see.
Well, I mean, you posed the question, why is place-based innovation important? And I firmly believe that innovation doesn't come from thin air. Innovation comes from people, education, infrastructure in the widest sense, services, opportunities, social openness of societies, but they come from places. These people come from somewhere, and then they have these fantastic ideas which bring us forward. So this is why a systemic approach is quite important. You need to nurture this. The other part is, why is an innovative system so important? We see, and DDG Razzo said it, we are in a changing world now. Geopolitically, we are living in a world where we have a little bit of deglobalization, so we talk about reshoring and onshoring of industries. We have a security challenge. So we need resilience, and interestingly, those regions which have a vivid innovation system usually are more resilient than the others. The other part, and Ron does not fail to inspire, is industrial transition. Since cohesion policy is working on the higher levels of technical readiness, so closer to the market, we are also interested that something comes out of innovation which goes to the market and which moves these regions forward. We come from cohesion from a kind of lessons learned, because more than 10 years ago we had a project approach. So we were selecting projects, not us, but the member states, and then they were supporting projects. But this was scattered. So about 10 years ago, we invented this smart specialization strategy, which is facilitating a strategic approach. And if you listen carefully to Ron, you see the different traps, you see the different conditions. So if you want to move out of these, to improve, to come to the loop, then you need to bundle your efforts, and not only your money, but also your actors. And this is what these smart specialization strategies do. They bring the actors together. You make a plan. How should this region look like in 10 years' time? What steps are necessary? Where do we have our strengths and weaknesses? This is accepted. This is now, since 2 periods, basically practiced, and it's flexible enough to cover the most innovative regions as well as the least innovative regions. And what we do in comparison to Horizon is, and I have to shock you, we are not looking at excellence. We have hundreds of excellent projects though, but we are looking at cohesion. So a systemic approach in these regions to strengthen the ecosystems. And of course, as Magda said, what is also important is to link these regions up. But you need to have a bit of a vision how you want to link them up. And again, this smart specialization could be something and we practice it, something to see where are complementarities of specializations, where can we work together. And this has proven to be something very interesting, and there we have different instruments to do it on the Horizon side as well as on the cohesion side. So I think when I look now into the future, cohesion and excellence, these are 2 types of policies with different objectives and different ways to address the issues. Well, and I think seeing the challenges of Europe coming, we need to have, and also what will happen possibly in the next MFF, to have less money available. We need to strengthen the strategic approach, because here we can possibly get out more out of less money that will be invested. And in particular, what I think we need to really think hard is how to target capacity building in regions. And this covers all regions. If you are in the loop, you just need to identify the bottlenecks, I mean just. But there you need to also think of measures what to do. If you are in a structural trap, then of course you face other issues. Again, you need to bundle your funding, your energies to move out of this trap, to find ways how you can increase relatedness and complexity. And I think what Europe is missing really is to bring all these innovations to the market. And here I think all of us, we need really to do something more to enable this.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. It's difficult to add something after these two interventions, but I'll hook into what Wolfgang was saying last and link into the place where we are. I think that bringing things to the market also requires design, because if I think sustainability issues is in places where you see the contradiction between the directionality of a sustainability transition and other issues. For instance, in cultural heritage cities, if you want to put solar panels on your rooftop, you cannot, because you want to preserve the view of the city. So there is a trap there that is not the same kind of trap, but is the contradiction that happens in a place between the directionality of different elements. And here is where design could play a role, and is not necessarily part of the conversation of the sustainability technology development, while once upon a time Steve Jobs was saying that all the good designers were busy in designing cars, but he was predicting that people would spend much more time in front of a computer than inside the car, and when he brought design into computers. So design can also be a solution that helps creating the demand for solution that maybe take time to be taken up by people living in places, because they don't respond to their needs, and their needs are more complex than necessarily the priority that is given by a specific policy. So I think that one important dimension of places is not only that talent is there, that industry are there, that policy are there, but that people are there, and therefore there are many different initiatives. The JRC is also the arm of the new European Bauhaus that was mentioned before, even linked to this place, which looks at sustainability, beauty, aesthetics, and inclusiveness in looking at the live environment, so bringing people at the center. So there is also a dimension of a place that is very important, that are the people living in the places. And I hand over to
every aspect you bring in, it seems more and more complex and more difficult to make it. So I'm very curious what Tanya adds to this, and I will see in the end that how I can comprehend these all.
Well, I think that the previous speakers has defined the strategic framework of what each and every territory, whether a city or a region in Europe, should look like. And it sounds really rather complicated and challenging at some moment. But on the other hand, I can tell you from my personal experience as a mayor that it is also inspirational, because in my city, for example, we are trying to be very systemic in putting efforts for the establishment of our innovation ecosystem. And it took us more than 10 years to have this effort. And currently, we are now happy to say that together with the businesses, together with academia, with schools, with citizens, we are speaking relatively understandable language, but we still have a lot of work to do. And what I have to say, and this is my personal belief, is related to the place-based policy. And why they are so important, because every territory has its citizens, its challenges, and also its opportunities. And I think it is the Europe's goal to provide equal opportunities for each and every territory to develop, to flourish, and to try to be as well, along with competitiveness, to be also inclusive. And in the time that we are living now, and the times that we will face in our near future, I think that we have to change our perspective and to try to be more mission-oriented in our thinking and acting, and in the involvement of the resources. Because in order to have one city or a region really competitive, we need to consider some very key elements. And it is to consider how important it is to have good capacity. This is probably one of the biggest challenge, for example, for my country, because it is difficult really to find people who are really committed to work in the field of innovation, and also to be engaged to move the capital and to agree to live in the country. Although the quality of living, I may claim, in the country is better compared to the capital. And in this regard, I think that the key word in everything that we are doing and what is going to be implemented from us is innovation. And I very much like that we are now, at least in the current and next probably programming period, we are considering much more the comprehensive and integrated approach of designing our local strategies. And here the smart specialization is something very important, because it provides for the chances to identify what are our local competitive edges, and also to identify our deficiencies. And with the support of the instruments and the different combinations of financial and not only financial support, we can really make this a good model. And the approach of the regional innovation valleys to meet advanced with lagging behind innovators, I think will provide for monitoring what are the best outcomes of this innovative approach. Because I think also in the Mario Draghi report, the right to stay is something very important, at least for countries like Bulgaria and regions that have the potential. But this is not sufficient without the external support to build proper opportunities for competitive development, which is also something that I think is related to addressing the societal challenges. And in this regard, the leadership of local and regional authorities and the opportunity to work with different partners, for example, working with academia, poses one challenge, but when we add the business approach and the speed, then we are doomed to work from each other, to make some compromises, but to be led by a common goal, and on a local perspective, this is to make our territories really prosperous, and by investing in this much more flexible way to transform the challenges into opportunities. And I think the combination of the different programs and if the promise to have more simplification, more synergies among the different funds will soon bring really good results. And I will conclude with the fact that in my city, it took us quite a lot of energy, quite a lot of work, and many different projects. We are really driving our efforts and enhancing our partnership coalition in this area. And I can say that now we are really seeing the fruits of our investments in insisting that collaboration opportunities to co-create and to be together, although for not so long period ago it was not the tradition in Bulgaria to work among in such partnership, is really bringing good results. The only issue that I would like to mention is that sometimes on local level we are much more motivated and much more engaged, and when we have national challenges, like in the political situation in Bulgaria, citizens, businesses, and innovation ecosystem in general are also suffering. So we must also insist for more streamlined synergy among the local, national, and European level. And it proves also the figures that 2/3 of the European legislation is known to be implemented by local and regional authorities, and hence the golden principle of subsidiarity and proportionalities is really crucial. And we also know that a bigger part of the European funds are invested on the local and regional authorities, and we must take care of the efficiency of all these investments, and of course the opportunity to leverage private ones as well. So I think the good examples are something that should motivate other areas and territories, and Europe is a very crucial partner in this endeavor.
Thank you. You touched upon some practical perspectives already, so it's a bit spoiler to my next question. And since we are short on time, I'm sorry, but I have to ask you to keep your answers a bit shorter. So my next question is about really this practical perspective. Now we touched on how we see on the big picture, but I would be curious that what do you see, what are some major challenges region faces in establishing and sustaining these kinds of innovative ecosystems or innovation ecosystems, and how can European funding instruments that you are working with, can help to address these challenges? We can go in the row already again.
Okay. Good. So no, thanks a lot. So for you were saying before it's complex, and it is complex. There are a lot of challenges because okay, there are different aspects, and all concur to that. But there is no choice. And this is what also Draghi said. There are no choices either to go for longer agony or to really act and take the moment to really move forward. Now, Ron was saying these things also, there are traps, there are difficulties, but there is a need also for policy response, of course. There is room for that. And indeed, well, I will say what is the EU response, at least from our side. Two short examples, because I know that we are running out of time. So the first one is For instance, the regional innovation valleys that have been mentioned probably later on as well. I will not go in detail because there will be a session dedicated to that tomorrow, but just to say that they are covering exactly these aspects of ensuring through the support of the Commission and the Horizon in this case, but also in combination with the ERDF, to support coordination between the actors at local level and also amongst different ecosystem, directionality, because they are really focusing on specific challenges and themes. For instance, we are currently funding in 2 years 150 regional innovation valleys, and they are aiming at reducing reliance on fossil fuels, increasing global food security, mastering digital transformation, healthcare, and circularity. So the big challenges that we have. So they are really concrete, and this is the directionality aspect. And of course, as I was mentioning, they're also trying to put different resources together to really exploit the synergies, the complementarities between different funds, even if there are different objectives, but sometimes there is a meeting point, and if we can exploit that is best. The second example, for instance, is the missions. We have these 5 missions ongoing. I will just focus on the city mission once again here, and we know how cities also can be very active, and Tanya is an example of a very active city mayor. Budapest is part of these 115 cities that have been selected to work to become by 2030 climate neutral. Exactly what we are doing is to support with some money from the EU with a call that has been closed in September this year with around 100 million support. This is not a lot, but of course, and this is still an incentive. It shows the direction. But what is important as well is to say that we cannot do alone. So I go back to my initial statement. This famous 3% is of course done. There is a lot of emphasis on the private investments, but also the public investments, and cannot be EU alone, because for instance, the framework program is only 1/10 of all the money to support research and innovation. The rest is at the member states level, region level. So it's again a call to support also financially and to invest in research and innovation.
Thank you, Magda. Okay, I'll try to be very short. As you know, cohesion, we are very complementary to Horizon. 85% of our funding goes to what Horizon or what DGRTD claims are emerging and moderate innovators. We talk about regions which are 8 times less innovative than the leading regions. So we need to address this gap. And to do this, I think we need to build more than we did in the past capacities. And capacities is not only administrative capacities of the fund administrators, but it is about the capacities of the actors. We have to aim at diversified ecosystems and ecosystems that transform. So here I think what is important is, because money is not everything. There is a lot to do which you can do by reorganization, by thinking through your habits and doing things differently. So I think this reform aspect is quite important. There we really need to think, and since we don't know in Brussels everything, we are really counting also on you to come up with openness towards what do you need to change to perform better. We also need to align a little bit better with EU objectives, though we already do that. Analysis shows, though our policy is bottom-up, but we shows that the vast majority of 90% of all regions follow the big EU objectives. Still, and this is very important, we need to be much more transformative. So it is not about investing and everybody feels good, but investing towards a transformation. Because we want to be better. We want to close the gap.
thanks for giving me a nice way to my next intervention. At the GRC, we don't manage funds for innovation, but we have recently launched a preparatory action on demand of the European Parliament that is called Innovation for Place-Based Transformation. And this is a space that we have created to work with territories exactly along the line that Wolfgang was saying, looking at what is transformative and doing it together with territories. It is a privilege in a way not to have funds associated, but only, as my director always says, only promise sweat and tears. So those who want to come, learn, be aware, and share in a community of like-minded actors, public actors that drive transformation can participate. There were a couple of slides just to have a QR code to share. I don't know if they can be displayed. But the preparatory action, the call is open until the 22nd of November, so you can still apply, and I'm happy to talk about it in bilaterals, in the corridors, wherever. And tomorrow there will be another chance to put the slides on if they are not now. And also, building on this, I would like to let everybody know that there is also a survey on the Regional Innovation Valleys Initiative that is still open until the 15th of November, in which you can bring your voice, because I'm in a unit that is called the Innovation Policy and Economic Impact, where a majority of my colleagues do modeling and macro or microeconomic analysis, but I come from a field that is more action research oriented. So I believe that it's very important to work with territories and with actors in the territory to shape a change while documenting it to make it available for more. So it's only by involving you that we can bring information to the policymakers.
Thanks. Tanya?
I cannot add more to what has been just said, but I would like to share that we all agree that we are going to be part, and we are part of societal transformation. And for me, this means that each and every sector and policy should be positively affected. And in this endeavor, sometimes we fail because we miscommunicate some of the positive components of this transformation. And in this regard, I think that the key word for our success is to make so that every part of our society, nevertheless, whether it is education, whether this is academia or the business territory, even the local and national governments as well, we should be part of this transformation. And in this regard, we have to use a variety of tools in order to help the citizens to become also part of this positive transformation. Because for some reasons, there are quite a lot of threats, quite a lot of negative misunderstanding, and this for many reasons makes some of the regions which are much more challenged even more deprived of opportunities. And I think we are engaged with creating opportunities and helping Europe to become more competitive, more successful, and with better quality of living, which is part, and it should be part of all our endeavors. And once again, here the local and regional perspective is crucial partner and also key motivator for this positive, in my understanding, transformation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we are the last thing between the audience and the lunch, so I think we should wrap it up. And I think you had some very good takeaways in the answer of the last question, which we can all use. And I'm pretty sure that everybody has questions. I definitely have, and I can't help my Hungarian aspect to watch all these things and hear all these things that you just said. So I will be asking questions during the lunch if you don't mind too. And thank you very much for being here, and thank you for your attention.